Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Marshall, live, and I am live. You guys, on today's episode of the Marshal Gillen Show, we're talking about politics. You, blah, blah, blah. That's what you guys all sound like online. Like, you sound like a jumbled bunch of fucking nonsense. That's literally what everybody sounds like. That's what you sound like when you're arguing about politics. But today we are talking about politics on this show. We're going to be discussing the presidential debate, the recap, my thoughts on how the presidential debate went down. But before we even get started, before we even start talking about politics, I got to remind you guys of one thing. You guys are literally, first off, politics is the dumbest thing to argue over. It's the dumbest thing to argue over. Okay. Now, look, I know some of you are looking at me and you're seeing the hat and you're going, well, if politics are stupid to argue over, then why are you wearing a mega hat, man? Look, everybody fucking relax for 1 second. Okay. Everybody relax for 1 second. Because before we get into this episode, I do want to remind you of something. For all of you who are either new to the channel or who are just coming back and starting to see the Marshal Gillen Show again, I want to remind you that my entire life goal, I have one mission, and a lot of you know my mission. I'm on a mission to save 1 billion lives, who save 1 billion lives with the power of storytelling and vulnerability, okay? For those of you who don't know, I had a very traumatic, fucked up childhood. I'm sure that you had some similar experiences. If you guys know me, I always say our details are different, but the foundational emotions are the same. If you had trauma when you were a child and I had trauma when I was a child, but you were raped and I was beat, like, it doesn't really matter how we got there. We both know what it's like to be fucking depressed or feel unworthy or all these pains that we have. And so I just want to remind you guys that before we get into today's talk about politics, I want to share a really powerful story with you that I learned in 2016. This is not a political video. I am not dumb enough to think that you could watch my video and then change how you feel about your candidate. I don't give a fuck. I don't care who you're voting. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I just don't care who you're voting for. Like, I don't care. I'm voting for Donald Trump. There's a reason, though. I'm voting less for Donald Trump and more for freedom in America. But we'll talk about that in a second. Oh, and the ability to buy guns. Look what I bought yesterday. I got my first AR, which I'm very excited about. Totally random purchase. I went to the store to buy water jugs, and they got ARs, and I happened to buy one. But I'm voting for America, but that's neither here nor there. Point being is that I went through a lot of things in my life that were fucked up. My real dad, I was a severe alcoholic, beat the hell out of my mom, threw her through the door. They got divorced. My mom got married to a stepfather who was insanely, incredibly emotionally and psychologically abusive, told me I was a worthless piece of shit every single day. I had all these things growing up, like addiction, alcohol, I tried to kill myself. I've been in gangs. I've been in shootouts. I've stabbed people. I've been beat up. I've been to jail. I've been a drug addict. I've been homeless numbers of times. Not that matters, but, you guys know my story. For those guys who know, I tried to kill myself when I was 23, but I was so embarrassed and ashamed that I never told anybody about it. And so I kept it all to myself. A few years later, I met a new best friend, the first man ever, his name is Dustin, to teach me how to be vulnerable and how to say I love you to another man. He was going through some problems, and I knew he was going through some problems, but I never spoke up and said anything. And so a few years later, he ended up killing himself. He hanged himself, and I knew it was coming, and I didn't do anything about it. And so when I was 27, my life changed, and I just decided to get really good and to find a purpose of what it is I'm doing every day. But I didn't understand it because nobody in my life had ever given me a blueprint of how to understand, like, okay, well, this is what you can do to change how you think and to expand your mind and to have different perspectives. This is what you can do to learn new skills so you can make more money, which will create more abundance in your life and, ultimately have a lot more freedom. And so I just want to remind you guys is that what we're talking about on the Marshal Gillen Show, they're just stories. Because none of this is actually real. And we're going to unpack this today, what I mean by that. But none of this is real. So if this show exists for one reason and one reason only, what I've discovered, my gift from God is the gift of gab. For some reason, things make sense in here really, really quickly. And without even any effort, they just come out. And so that's why I have the Marshal Gillen Show. My number one goal, the only thing I want to do is end suffering and shine a light on the greatness that you have inside of you. So we're going to talk about a highly volatile subject today. We're going to be discussing the presidential debates, politics in general, and I'm going to share with you some ways that you cannot be triggered by it and that you can actually learn to free yourself from what it is that limits you in life so you can have more of the things that you deserve, like freedom, like abundance, like love, like wealth, right? Travel, whatever that means to you. I'm literally going to break it down for you guys right here, and we're going to do it through the scope, which is Donald Trump and the presidential election. So I just want to first say that, okay? Now, here's the thing. When I was younger, I was registered as a Democrat forever. Like, I've always been a very progressive person. I moved to California, lived in California for the last 13 years. I grew long hair. I smoked the pot. I've been to gay pride parades in San Francisco, San Diego, and LA. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but the gay pride parade is like legit one of the fucking funnest parties that you'll ever go to. As a matter of fact, one year in San Diego, which has a great pride parade, one year in San Diego, they fucking, everybody was all excited for it, or planned for it, and it started to rain. First thing, right when the parade started, it started to pour down rain. And even that was turned into one of the best parties I'd ever been to. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I just want to remind everybody that it's like, the way that I feel is the way that I feel. And I'm not trying to get you guys to feel a certain type of way. What I'm trying to get you guys to do by sharing this story that I'm about to share with you is I want you to let go of some of the angers and resentments that you have inside of you when you're triggered by things like politics. And so I just want to remind you guys, if you are not already, first off, did you guys know that over 80% of you who are watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel? It's crazy. Only all of my views, they come from 80% of non-subscribers. So if you guys are watching this right now on YouTube, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell. What my goal is just to take stories that are happening in everyday life, process them here on the Marshal Gillen Show, so you have an opportunity to choose, is this going to be resourceful, unresourceful thoughts and emotions that I'm creating? Because I want to help you have freedom. I want to help you have love. I want to help you have health. I want to help you have a life that you are absolutely in love with, because when I was lying dead on the floor at 23, I never would have dreamed that I could be doing the things that I'm doing now today, which is like whatever you want to think, like whatever you want to do. But it's like, I live in a cabin in the mountains in Montana. I can travel whenever I want. This past weekend, I was just in Yellowstone Park, then Grand Tetons, then down into Nevada, Utah, Arizona, ended in San Diego for a few days, and then drove back up the same way. Get money for my phone. I made just about $18,000 last month. Just like hanging out, doing what I want to do. This is my story, but it's not a story about me. It's a story about you. And how can you find yourself in the story that I'm telling and go, yo, if this dumb motherfucker, 5-time college dropout, attempted suicide survivor, if this cat can do it, man, I wonder what I can accomplish. And so I want to share a story with you before we unpack the presidential debates. Okay. I want to share a story with you that changed my life forever. Okay. Now, this is back in 2016. I want you to understand that before 2016, I was heavily into politics. I was in student council my entire life in junior high and high school. I was class president all throughout high school of my high school class, obviously. Like, I've always been very activist minded. Senator Obama is from Illinois, so I used to follow Senator Obama when he started running. I was putting up signs, doing calls, going to Oakland. I've always been very, very involved in politics. I've always had the mindset that was like, yo, if you don't fucking vote, bro, then you don't have a right to say a fucking thing, man. Like, don't fucking complain because you don't vote. That's the only thing that you have control over, and you're not going to do that. I was like one of those guys. Super fucking annoying. Ugh, I would kick myself in the dick now if I fucking saw myself. But anyways, I was very well-intentioned. I grew up on a farm. Everything was terrible about my upbringing except for my amazing. That's not true. My upbringing was really amazing, but the scope through what I saw it, I only felt pain because my stepdad was a fucking asshole, and he still is. Hey, Phil, if you're watching this, fuck you. I've let go of that pain. I'm not really mad, but like, it's funny to me. Anyways, I've strained from what I'm saying. The weed today was good. Anyways, I've always been a very progressive-minded person. I would definitely have considered myself a liberal for a really long time. And look, this is not about putting labels on people. I don't care what it is that you believe or don't believe, okay? But the reality of it is that I was very progressive, very, very liberal. I've done all the voting for all the things, right? All the things. And in 2016, I was I remember the morning that I walked out of my room. I was living at Pacific Beach down in San Diego, a block from the beach. Fucking amazing. Loved it there. I remember walking out of my room that morning and looking at the phone. And because I was very, like, always sharing stuff about politics, all these things. I remember seeing that Donald Trump had entered the race as president. And I chuckled and I dismissed it as quickly as I read it because I was just like, that's funny. I wonder what his move is for this. But like, there's not a snowball's chance in hell. And as things started to progress, it started to be like, well, shoot, like, I wonder if Donald Trump is really serious about running for president. And then, more and more. And at this time, I was a massive Bernie supporter. And so it's going more and more and more. And here's the thing. I know for myself and most of the people that I know, before Donald Trump was president, I loved Donald Trump. Like, his shows were fucking funny. His books are amazing. Some of the best that there are Art of the Deal. Some of the best that they are when it comes to making money. It's like, there's rappers have countless amounts of songs about Donald Trump. Like, everybody loved Donald before he was president, me included. And so, this election starts to roll out in 2016. I've always been a very involved person into politics, always been really into it, very researched and all this stuff. And I just remember thinking, like, being mad. I'm like, this is fucked up. And then the more that when he won the preliminaries to be the candidate, right? When he won the candidacy, I remember how enraged I was in 2016. I mean, just so mad. Now, at the time, I was super involved in watching a lot of the media. I was watching a ton of TV. Wasn't doing a lot of research, independent research online. I would like things on TV, and then I would research those online. And that's just confirmation bias. If you guys don't know about biases, there's like 25 cognitive biases, which would help you guys in sales and business if you guys knew them. But one of the things is a confirmation bias. So it's like the debates, for example. Like, nobody won that. It was a fucking shit show. Now, I will say that Donald did a really good job because as somebody who taught speakers for years and knows NLP, like I'm an NLP master, I can look at Donald Trump and I'm just absolutely fucking amazed. He's the master of NLP, and literally he did amazing in that debate in regards of what I can realize what he's trying to set up for the next one, right? And we can unpack that too. But that's neither here nor there. And so I'm watching Donald Trump, in 2016. I'm watching a lot of the news. I'm going then and researching on the internet the news that the information I'm learning on the TV, and I'm just getting confirmation bias, which is only pissing me off more, saying that Donald Trump's a racist and he's all these things. Which, again, you guys, I'm not here to convince you. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care if you vote for Trump. I'm telling a story through this scope, so we have a catalyst to understand something. Okay. And so Donald Trump, runs for president. I voted for Hillary Clinton. I didn't really care about the emails. I didn't understand what they were, and I didn't do any extra research. News said that was full of shit, that Donald was evil. I said, okay, let's go. Fuck Donald. And I remember in 2016, the night of the election, I remember sitting on my couch. It was nighttime. It was like 9 o'clock or something like this. And the TV was just showing that Donald Trump was going to win the election. And I literally felt like somebody had kicked me in the stomach. I felt so disempowered. And then the next morning I woke up. I turned the TV off before the election was over. I woke up the next morning. Donald Trump's the president, but there's all the controversy. Like, Hillary had more votes, but Donald won the electoral college or whatever, right? And I remember in that moment feeling so fucking pissed off, which I don't know about you guys, but up until that point, my whole life had been nothing but pissed offness. Like, I was in a perpetual state of anger and resentment, because that's the only state of existing that I understood. It's the only one I knew. So most Americans, that's why most people worldwide are unhappy. But it's because most people never take accountability for their life, because comfort and convenience has become so accessible to the everyday person in America that people take things for granted. And the moment they take it for granted, they start feeling entitled. They feel entitled to these things. And they have to remember that having a fucking place to live with a roof over your head is not like a right. There's lots of people in the world that don't have that aren't safe from the elements, the cold, the rain, the snow, the heat, right? And so what happens is I am starting to realize all these things, and which is the problem, right? So I'm saying it's like people are so in tuned and entitled to convenience and to comfort that now in America, we're this big fucking problem where everybody feels entitled to everything. Nobody wants to listen to anybody. Everybody wants to give up their freedoms for a little bit of fucking, I don't even know what. And now at the age of 35, almost 36, actually my 36th birthday is in 17 days. I turned 36 October 17th. Send Lagavulin if you need to send something, or some Lafroig. Anyways, so and now here as I get a little bit older, though, I'm starting to have a little bit, things are changing. And so this is how it all happened. In 2016, I had been, it's 4 years ago, so I've been running, I had my own side hustle, my old side hustle for about 2 or 3 years at that point. But I was never able to figure it out or make enough money to ever quit my job. Like I could never leave my job. So it became maddening because for almost 3 years, I was stuck in this fucking loop, in this cycle of working my fucking ass off in my side hustle, but not making any money and feeling stuck and trapped like it's never going to change. Meanwhile, I'm doing all these things. I'm involved in politics and the news and all this shit. So on the morning I woke up in 2016 after the election and realized that literally my vote as an American had zero fucking consequence on anything. I felt so helpless and disempowered that I just decided to shut it all off. And I know that seems simple. Back in 2016, I didn't know. And so I deleted all of my social media. I stopped watching the news and radio 100%, which I was a big NPR fan back then. And what happened is I found myself with a lot of time. I also found myself with a lot of energy. And I also found myself a lot less angry. And so what happened in 2016 after I turned that off is shortly after that, I found a mentor, some guy that was talking online about finding mentorship and knowledge and how you can use knowledge to learn skills and use those skills to go out and create solutions. And from those solutions, be paid an exorbitant amount of money. And then to continue to do that, reinvest that money into other things that cash flow. And then how can I just build cash flow in my life? And so when I turned off the news and I gave up the politics and arguing and trying to prove my point, I started to have a lot more time to learn. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard, but there's one of the wealthiest investors of all time. What he says is the more you learn, the more you earn. And so in 2016, once I shut off all the noise, all of a sudden in my life, I started to have a lot of things that started to go right. I left my job. That was November 23rd is when I bought the course. And at 48 hours, I made my money back. So the elections happened. I turned off the TV like November 4th or whatever, stopped. And in between November 4th and November 23rd, I had been watching this guy for these days. And I decided to make an investment on November 23rd of 2016. I had $1,017 in my bank account altogether. And this course this guy was selling was $1,000. And I just was at a point in my life where I said, fuck it. And I bought it. I didn't tell my girlfriend. I was super nervous. I was bartending at the time and it was like a Thursday or something. And I knew I was going to be working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I knew I was probably going to make I don't know, $700-800 that weekend. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. And I did. I bought it. I had $17 left. And in 48 hours, I watched all the videos. There was 36 videos. I watched all the videos. And then I watched it in 32 hours. I think I slept for 4 hours or something. And I got back up and I went and I made my money back doing what I had learned in less than I made my money back in less than 48 hours. I invested $1,000, never done that before in my life, ever. And I invested $1,000 and 48 hours later, I made $1,016. And then from there, that's literally, I quit my job and I started making my own money. And if I hadn't taken accountability for my own life, which was I looked at myself on November 4th or whatever it was, 2016, the morning after the election. And I said, yo, bro, what you have been doing is not getting you the results that you want. You're so angry and you're so mad over what? Over what? Like what? Because people don't agree with you? And so once I decided to accept accountability for my actions and the way that I had been looking at life, and instead of continuing to be mad and upset at everybody that didn't see things my way and agree with my way, I just said, you know what? That fucking sucks that the world's that way, but I'm going to do me for right now. Because I realized I can't change the whole world. It's such a futile, there's no point in it. What's the fucking point? And so I just decided I'm gonna take responsibility for my life. And I'm gonna be very cognizant of what my diet is, what I put into my body physically, what I put into my body mentally, the diet I have emotionally, and are the actions and the things that I'm doing in my daily reality, are they feeding me spiritually, physically, emotionally, Are they feeding me the way that I need to be fed to have and accomplish the things I want to accomplish in life? I took accountability for my life for the first time ever in 2016. And what I started to figure out is that when I moved through fear, I took responsibility and I went out and I connected with other people who are already having success doing and or having the things I wanted in life. I realized that life got a lot simpler. And so check this out as it applies to what's going on right now. Some of you guys are going, well, why, Marshall, then are you keep talking about politics? Why on your channel are you wearing a mega hat? I'll tell you why, okay? Because at this point in my life, I've disconnected and unplugged so much from the ego and from who I used to be that I realize now that everything in this reality is literally a manifestation of myself. Like, we're not going to get too deep on this episode, and I would be happy to do an episode on it, but we know that science has something called physics, and physics is just the study of matter. That's all physics are. But when physicists started doing research back in the day, what they found when they used a microscope to go zoom in on the atoms that make up matter, what physicists found is that the atom is more than 99.99999999999% empty, like nothing. There's nothing. Like, there's nothing, okay? And this baffled scientists. They didn't understand physics is the study of physical matter. So why is it when they went to look at the atom that makes up physical matter, why was there nothing there? How could this be? So what happened is there had to be a science that studied the inside of matter, or the lack thereof of matter, and that's basically what quantum physics is. Quantum physics is the science of what happens inside of basically physics, inside of matter. And so what quantum physics does is it's an interesting thing, because first off, what science shows, what physics shows, is that the human body itself is made up of 50 to 70 trillion cells. 50 to 70 trillion cells. Here's the fucking kicker, though. If you were to take a microscope and you were to zoom in on the human body and you were to zoom in on me, right? I mean, like, we're talking high-powered microscope, right? What you would find is that you would zoom right through our body. This is because of a few things. One, there's nothing there, so there's actually no physical matter. But two, our cells are not like glued together. Like, what we actually feel and see, like, it's not actually even real. And I don't want to blow your mind, and we're not going to get deep into this today, but that's just the facts. Okay. I'm not making it up. I don't care what you believe. Like, believe what you want to believe. Those are just the facts. Like that quantum physics, we're not real. None of this is actually real. I don't know why. And he's like, well, how does it feel real? And that's a whole different talk. Point being is that further studies of this phenomena later discovered something even more miraculous. And it was this. What scientists later found out is they did something called the double slit experiment. And what they basically did to make a really complicated story less complicated, they had let's say a cannon. And through this cannon, they shot two things. They shot particles or physical matter, and they shot out waves, frequency, which is waves. From the cannon shot particles, and from the cannon shot waves. And what they did is they pointed this cannon at a solid wall with two long slits. And the first thing they did was they shot particles out of the cannon at the double slits. And what they found is that as the particles came through the double slit wall, there was a wall then behind that wall. So it's like cannon, double slit wall, back wall. Okay. And what they found is that the particles would hit the back wall in a very predictable way. Cool, as expected. The next thing they did is they shot frequency that created wave patterns through the double slit, and they found predictable patterns. Okay. Now, what happened is when they started to do more experiment, again, I'm not going to get deep into this. Okay. Well, I can go into deeper if we want another time. But what they started to discover is that these patterns, they started to become unpredictable. When they started to shoot these particles and waves through the double slit, what these biologists started to see is that the waves and the particles started to react in a way that was unpredictable. It didn't make any sense. It was absolutely like when they started to shoot this through, it didn't make any sense physically how the patterns on the back wall were happening. Okay. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to get a closer look as to why these things were doing what they were doing. And so what they did is they put a little camera right next to the double slit. So as they shot through, they could see which side it was going through and then how it was actually reacting. And what scientists learned as they shot through that with the camera watching is that all of a sudden, the particles in the wave started reacting in a very predictable way, one way and one way only. When they removed the camera, everything was infinite. There are all kinds of, the wall was sprayed like there was nothing there. It was just, everything was painted. But when the camera was watching, it was just two slits on the back wall. And I'm just telling you this long-ass winded story because what scientists found out is that matter is only existent when observed by conscious or awareness. And so a long-winded story longer, basically what quantum physics proved is that thoughts become things, because nothing can actually manifest in this physical reality unless it's first observed by a conscious awareness, which is you and me. So it's interesting when we start talking about all this shit, because it's like, oh, wait, like I don't even exist. So if I don't really even exist in my consciousness, like who am I? If I'm literally just a big fucking conglomerate of cells, and where am I actually hosted at in this body? That's what consciousness is. And once you realize and take ownership of the thoughts and feelings that you create, you will realize that every single thing in your reality is literally created by you. And so you go, well, what about the presidential debates, Marshall? I didn't fucking create that, and I didn't do this. Well, that's true. That has a whole nother thing to do with collective consciousness, which we're not going to talk about at all in this episode. But it's interesting to me now to come back to, let's bring it back to the presidential debates, knowing that thoughts become things and none of this is actually even really real. I started to look at my life in 2016 and realized, wow, I can change my life. I can literally make it whatever I wanted. And so in order to do that, I literally just go, okay, I got clear on the goals that I wanted in my life. Most of you don't have goals. You don't have any goals, right? And if you do, they're not very clear or specific at all. And you wonder why you never get anything. It's because you keep yourself trapped thinking the same thoughts and feelings over and over. You wake up, you stress about money, you stress about work, you stress about relationship, kids, whatever. You wake up, you set the loop, and it's over and over and over again. And what you guys don't realize is, and again, not to get too far out there on this episode, but Satanists, which is like, it doesn't matter who wins this election, you guys, like, we're moving towards something that is, you can't stop no matter what, okay? This world is not real. It's a stage. The whole thing is a stage. And it's being controlled by people who want to take over humanity. Again, that's a little bit too deep for what we're talking about today. Be happy to discuss it. Leave me a comment and let me know. But this all being said is like, the reason I look at this now and I think it's so fucking stupid is I'm like, people online are getting so worked up, and I don't care who you're voting for. You have the people out there too that are driving around with the Trump flags and protesters and all this crazy shit. And it's like, you guys, if you only knew that all that energy, all the emotion, all those thoughts that you are creating is why you fucking hate your life and why you're broke and why you can't find love and why you're sick. Like, it's all of those things. And so you go, well, Marshall, how can you sit there and post videos about Trump and wear a MAGA hat? Because this whole thing is a game and it's fun. It's fun to me. I can look at the Matrix objectively now, and I can choose to step into it and play in it, or I can step out of it, which is why I live in the mountains now and I can be my real self. And so the reason that I'm to a point now where I'm like, I'm like MAGA and this and that, it's just simply because I'm voting for America. I want America to open back up. I want businesses to open back up. I don't believe in the virus, and I see something deeper that I know this whole thing is being engineered. And so, yeah, Donald Trump is not a very presidential speaker, but like, you guys, if you do the research yourself, you're not plugged into the media, like I don't care if you root for Donald Trump or not, but you're going to start to discover a lot of things. Because what happened to me is that when coronavirus hit, and everything got shut down, I was just at home hanging out. And this was like what, in March? Yeah, March 13th, March 11th, then March 13th officially, right? Which was actually Friday the 13th. Big surprise, it shut down on Friday the 13th. But anyways, when the country shut down, what happened, and listen, in March, again, I don't care who you guys vote for. Like, please, like, I'm not going to convince you who to vote for. That's not what this is about. But in 2000, what I discovered in March was that I'm talking fucking hated Donald Trump forever. Okay. Even in March. And so in March, the country shuts down, and all of a sudden the White House is going live every single day, every day. And so what happened is, guys, if you're worried about me holding the gun, it's empty. And the other thing is, like anything in life, you got to continue to train every day. We don't need less police training. We need more police training and higher standards, right? If you trained police officers, something like the Navy SEALs do, you wouldn't see all this fucking craziness, violence and stuff. Which also we don't have a problem with racism. I'm not even going to get into that, but that's a whole separate talk. But that'll piss a whole lot of people off. But the reason I keep holding my empty guns or having them out is because I just want to train with them. I want to get used to having them. I want to get with them. I want to drill with it. And so when I go to the range and actually live fire, like it's just a habit, you know. But so if you guys wonder why I keep playing with my gun, that's why. Anyways, so what I realized is that I started watching these lives from the White House in March, and I was like, what the fuck? Donald Trump kind of sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And he's actually pretty hilarious. And why are the media fucking attacking him? Why are these people attacking him? It didn't make any sense to me because I hated Donald Trump. And so I started to watch him every day. And after about a week, I was like, well, what happened is, first off, what happened is the first day I watched it, he made some really good points, which pissed me off. And then I got on the line and I was reading the news, and literally I would read the headlines and I'm like, wait a second. That's not what the fuck he said. That's not what he fucking said. He didn't say that. And I watched this for like another week. And I would watch Trump. I would watch the whole hour-long thing. And I'd be like, this motherfucker, wow. Like, he's an American. This is great. And I would then go to the news, and it was just complete. I'm talking fully falsified. I don't care if you vote for Trump. But okay, it's not what it's about. For me, in that fucking instant, I was so goddamn pissed off because I realized that they're not giving the American people a choice. And it instantly tied me back into being my upbringing with my stepdad and how I never had a choice, and how my entire life, I even have a gypsy on my arm. Some of you guys have seen it because I've always said I was a gypsy. And the reason I've always felt like a gypsy and never wanted to settle down or commit to anything is because I had become accustomed in my life, because of my past experiences, I became accustomed to feeling like I never had a choice. And so it was interesting when Trump won, because it wasn't ever about Trump, why I hated him. He just was a trigger for an emotion that was created a long time ago that made me feel like I didn't have a choice and that I wasn't being heard. And so the media would perpetuate that within the matrix, which is why 99% of people are stuck in life. It's just a game that they're playing to feed off us. It's not about money, it's about power and youth, which is so many things to unpack, Gillen gang. Like The Rock, I don't know why you guys are surprised that The Rock endorsed Biden. Like, he's just being activated. Like, that's it. Like, you don't get to be one of the most famous people in the world, musician or actor or athlete, unless they say so. They being like the establishment, the cabal, like the Satanists, people that run the world. But I know that I'm really out there. I didn't want to get this out there on this episode, but I wanted to warn. This is my first episode back in like months, so I wanted to warm you guys back up a little bit before we got into the deep shit. But fuck it, this is what I believe and this is who I am. So, anyways, let's get back to the last thing. Let's end this. By the way, if you guys are listening to us on podcast and you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe. And do me a favor, like, leave me a review. 5-star reviews are welcome. But if you hate me and you hate the show, say that too. We need all kinds of things. Plus, then later I can read them and we can all make fun of you. Anyways, so the thing about, I started looking at the news and I just realized in March, I was like, this is fucking bullshit. They're not telling us the truth. We're not being told the truth. Like, none of this, like, why is nobody telling us what's really going on? And it was an old emotion. You guys know me from my past. Like, I've helped my clients make literally millions of dollars. I've helped save lives, save marriages, lose weight. Like, I've been so blessed to experience so much trauma and pain in my life that I'm able to use that as my gift. You guys know, turn your mess into your message, your pain into your purpose, all that shit I've been talking about for years. That's it. In 2016, when Trump won and I decided to turn everything off because I was mad, I accidentally created a space for myself to start to grow and start to learn. And when I started to grow and learn, I started to realize that none of this is real. None of this matters. And so now here in 2020, I look at all this and I realize it's game. I realize that we're being played and the outcome has, like, literally there's not a whole lot we can do. And so instead of bitching and complaining and telling you all what you should do, I just thought it was funny to get a mega hat. One, I ordered it because I realized that there's people that see the hat and automatically hate me. They don't know me and they won't even listen to me. And that's the problem. Like, it's unfortunate that there has to be a label to it, but right now it's very clear that Biden and liberals, they're not listening. They're all emotional based. Like they literally won't, like right now in the media, for example, like if you watch the reports, it makes me so enraged, but then I can unplug from the matrix, is I watch these reporters like just berate Trump or the press secretary, Kayleigh, whatever her name is, right? Like they're talking over and not even letting her talk, and they won't even listen. Like they won't listen. They're just Trump's a racist. Why won't he denounce it? Why won't he denounce it? And it's like, motherfuckers. There's literally copious amounts of video of Donald Trump over the years literally saying, I denounce, I do not agree with KKK, white supremacy, all these things. But the media won't acknowledge it or read it. And so it's like, it's interesting because what I'm finding right now that's so triggering to most people is that, again, it's not to put labels on it. It's just, it's so divided right now. And it's so clear that most people who are red or Republican or American, even so many minorities, a lot of the liberals look at it and they go, how can Mexicans and black people and women vote for Trump? He's a pig. He's a racist. He's all these things. And it's like, no, he's not. Like, no, he's not. If you actually took a look at it, again, I don't care who you vote for. I'm not trying to convince you these things. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just saying, it's like the facts are the facts. He's not a racist. Yeah, government-wise, he's one of the most conservative. But if you look at social justice and progressiveness, he's like very liberal. He has a history in business of being a very liberal, very progressive. The Democrats tried to get Trump to run for president, which a lot of you don't even fucking know. But he said, no way. And he ended up running Republican. And then it's funny because they go, oh, he's in the pockets of all the big billionaires. Well, let's stop for a second and think of who the big billionaires are. Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, okay? So when you guys let the media vilify the billionaires, motherfuckers, how are they billionaires? It's because all of you motherfuckers pay them. You use Amazon, right? Like, give me a break. You use Facebook. So it's interesting that you want to just throw all this hate at Trump and the big billionaires when, as a matter of fact, Trump is not friends with any of those people. He doesn't support any of them. He supports the working class American. And it's so funny. It's so funny. That's why I've got the hat. That's why I've been sharing stuff, because it helps me quickly assess who the people are who are still playing victim in their reality and the people who are willing to step up and take control. And that's by and large, I'm seeing the main difference. Now, yeah, there's people on the fringe. There's stupid fucking right-wed rednecks that are fucking racist. And there's crazy ass fucking people on the left. But by and large, what I'm finding is that most of the people who are voting Biden or are very liberal right now are literally people who are just cowards. They just never stood up for themselves. And I'm like, I don't mean to talk shit, but it's true. Like, I would be happy to get on live and not talk politics, but talk about where else in your life you feel pain and you feel limited and where you feel things are unfair. Because I could guarantee you, if you chose to accept accountability and responsibility of your life and your reality and your emotions and your thoughts, that, like me, you could have a way better life. My life has completely changed. I'm way happier, way better. And so for me, it's interesting. I put this hat on because one is I'm voting freedom. Again, Trump just happens to be the horse in the race right now. Is he the best? I don't know. He's best for right now. That's what I think. But the matter of it is, I just want America to be free. I want freedom of speech. I want to be able to own my own guns. I want to be able to buy land. I want to be able to make my own money. And I want to be able to not have to give a shitload of it up in taxes. Trump is trying to make taxes less for people. You guys go, oh, he fucking skipped out on his income. Dude, he was within the law. If you guys have ever got like these two, literally even these two notebooks alone, I've got stuff about how to do your taxes in here, right? I invested in a mastermind, $25,000 a year. And one of the things that we learned is how to structure your business. So you pay the least amount of taxes you have to legally. It's all legal. You could fucking do it. You yourself, you could do it. Watching this, listening to this, you could do it, but you just never learned how to. And so instead you play victim. You go, oh yeah, Trump, fuck him, and the billion. Like none of that's true. You're just a pony that follows around the media. And so it doesn't have to be that way. And I still love you no matter who you vote for. But if the presidential debates, if politics has been triggering your life and you've been finding yourself losing a lot of energy and time to it, I would say let it go, turn it off. Because no matter who wins this election, it's not going to have a huge impact on your life. I mean, yeah, it could. Like, there's a lot of things that definitely going to change one way or the other. I get it, but still none of it's real. And it's all how you choose to perceive it. I could have stayed in San Diego, a block from the beach. I could have done all the things and complained, why doesn't California let me have my guns? And why can't we do this? And why is my business closed down? And all these things. I could have bitched and fought for it, what I believe in. Or I could have been like, you know what? This fucking sucks. And I didn't do anything to deserve this. What are some actions I can take so I don't have to feel like this? Okay, well, I'll move to Montana. I'll live in a cabin. I'll remove these things. And I will choose a place that has an airport or easy accessibility so I can go visit the places I want. But I took responsibility for my life. Okay? It's not always what it looks like it's supposed to be. I'll tell you what, this is the happiest I've ever been. It's the best place I've ever been. I fucking love it here. And I didn't even know. I wasn't even willing to give it a chance because I was too busy getting in my own way. And so, I wanted to use this presidential debate and what's going on right now is kind of just, like I said, as a catalyst for you, to give you guys an opportunity to think. Like, you guys, I don't care who you vote for. Even if you tell me you vote for Biden and why you vote for, like, that's fine. Like, I still love you. I still don't want you to be unhappy because I don't believe that people deserve to be in suffering. That's not right. God didn't put us here to suffer, which is what the whole problem I have around Jesus and the Bible, which is a whole nother show we'll have to talk about another time. But look, the only thing is this: if you're finding yourself suffering anywhere in life, or if you find yourself not living the exact life you want, like, don't sit here and go, oh, it's easy for you to say, Marshall, or yeah, fucking pipe dream. Stop that shit. You are your own fucking problem. And until you change your mindset and your habit and the way that you show up, nothing's going to change. I was a fucking loser my whole life, blaming everybody, mad, talking. I know more than you. I'll prove it with blah, blah. For what? And so if you're somebody that finds yourself online arguing about politics, you need to take a break. You need to unplug and you need to reconnect with one. What is your gift from God? And what purpose can you fulfill in this life to help remove suffering from other people and help them find their greatness? Because that's literally all we're meant to do. We're just meant to remind each other. First off, we're supposed to love ourselves, and then we're supposed to be remembered that, oh yeah, we're all one. And then we're supposed to help other people remember that. That's literally, we're not supposed to learn anything. There's no discovery. We already know everything there is to know. We just don't remember. And literally the only point of life, which there really is no point. God has no purpose for us. God just wants to experience life as different variations. That's why we're all the same person. We're all just God. And God is love. Like, that's what's so fucked up about religion and but the Bible and Jesus and any religion. Like, think about that. Like, what kind of God is not going to let you have eternal love and joy unless you ask for forgiveness? Like, that's such bullshit. Like, I don't have to be saved through Jesus to be loved. That's ridiculous. Man made up that construct. Like, God, source energy or whatever, all it is pure bliss and love. Like, that's all God is. All God is just pure bliss, perfection. And think of how boring that is. So God started to expand and the universe was created and stars and planets and life. And like, that's it. There's no purpose. Life is just happening because God wanted to experience what it was like. And so, we get so caught up in like, oh, I got to ask, like last Saturday was National Prayer Day and they wanted me to show up and repent. Like, repent for what? So you're telling me that my God wants me to feel bad and know that he is God and bow down to him and forgive myself of these sins so I can be accepted? Like, that's bullshit. That's not real. Now, if you need that, if you need that, you should have that. If your steadfast belief in Jesus Christ as a savior is what fucking gets you to show up every day as the best version of yourself, like, oh, thank God for that. And I will never judge you bro, you got to get in where you fit in. That's what the great thing about life is that God made it so infinitely different. Every infinite possibility exists that it doesn't matter what you choose. None of it's wrong or right, good or bad. God doesn't love good any more than he loves bad, because bad and good is still all God. It's all God. Like, I hate to tell you guys, but Jeffrey Epstein went to heaven. Okay. That disgusting, vile, motherfucking awful human being. He went to heaven. I'm sorry, but God doesn't look at the actions that were taken as good or bad, because God created Jeffrey Epstein. God created child trafficking. God created the pain. It's not like God was sitting there one day and was like, make child trafficking. No, God just started to let life happen, the Big Bang or whatever. And as that starts to happen, life starts to just happen. It's like a vine growing. Things happen. But God doesn't sit here and judge us as good or bad and make us ask for repentance. God loves us. It's just love always. And love is available at any fucking time you want to tap into it. Just most of you don't, which is unfortunate. But, that's why I wear but to answer the last question and the rant I got off, why I've been sharing politics and why I've been wearing the hat again is just because it's funny to me. It's fun. It's fun. I look at somebody that's triggered by the hat and I'm like, man, you're a clown shoe. You're an interesting character. One of the viewers here live, Zach, what's up? I see you too, bro. He says infinity is every direction. It's true. You guys, the universe is expanding. You guys have probably heard that before. The universe is expanding. Energy is just expanding. Well, what's going to happen is it's actually being pulled. It's being pulled back for God to rejoin itself. And that's it. So if you guys wonder what's going to happen, the universe billions of years from now is going to come back into a point of singularity, one single point, and it will be nothing. It'll be nothingness. And you know what's going to happen? The next big bang will happen. And for billions and billions of years, the universe will expand and grow until it begins to contract to a singular point, and then boom, and over and over and over for an infinity. That's literally all that's going on. And so, worrying about who's fucking winning president and all that shit doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I wear the hat and stuff, and I get the guns and stuff because it's I have the guns for self-protection. Just because I think that in November, when the elections happen, there's going to be a civil war. Maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow. But yeah, I'm just plugged into the matrix playing the game. It's nothing different than just playing the video game. And once you guys realize that, your life will get a lot easier, which I think that you're probably going to need to take some psychedelics to do that. Ooh, we'll do a show on psychedelics soon. Psychedelics changed my life. That's how this whole thing started. All right. This has been another episode of the Marshal Gillen Show. Hey, you guys, check it out. Last thing is, I don't want anything from you, but I do invite you to figure out a way that you can become unstoppable in your life. Unstoppable in love, unstoppable in life, unstoppable in business, unstoppable in health, just unstoppable to live the life truly that God designed you to live. And so if you're interested in that, I literally created a completely free club, a community. It's like a country club, right? For people who want to be unstoppable. It's my winner's circle. And for those of you who want to win in life and you want to have more of the abundance and love and the things that you deserve, you can click the link in this description. It's either above or below, but it's Unstoppable New You. Okay, you guys see Unstoppable New You up there. Let me put this up here on the screen. You guys can see at the bottom if you're watching this, unstoppablenewyou.com/community. And literally, I'm going to be teaching lessons in there for free. Look, I've been very blessed to learn a lot. I've invested over $250,000 in my personal development and my business mastery over the last few years. So I've invested pretty much all the money I've made back into my business and myself. But now at this point, 8 years later into my development, I'm very fortunate to be able to charge a very substantial amount of money to work with me, to be coached by me, anywhere from $36,000 to $50,000 a year, just to get on 2 phone calls a month with me. Okay. I'm very blessed. I'm not bragging. It wasn't always like that. I remember in 2016, I charged a lady $100 for a phone call to teach her about something that was literally worth thousands of dollars. I didn't know at the time. But after the call, I was so disgusted. I was like, oh, I stole that money from her. I feel so bad, right? $100. And so I'm not bragging. I'm very fortunate to make the money I do. Point being is that I want to help you. I don't care what you vote for. I don't care what side you're on. I see you as a person. And if you have a lot of anger and you have a lot of resentment, this is definitely for you then. Because inside that group, I don't want anything for you. But once a week, I'm going to be going live and answering questions for you guys for completely free, just to help you guys be able to attain more of the lifestyle that you want. Which, let's be real, there's only 2 things that humans want: to be accepted and to be loved. All fear and or joy comes from those 2 things and those two things alone. Fear and love are the only 2 emotions that actually exist. Everything else is just a variation of them. And fear and love comes from the wanting to be loved and wanting to be accepted. And so I'm ready to accept you and I'm ready to love you. I don't care what you do or what you think or who you are. I just want to help. And so if you want to be part of that winner circle, what I want you to do is click the link below. Jordan Rubin says, dude, you really lost me those last 5 minutes. Do you believe in an afterlife? Just curious. Jordan, have you been watching the whole thing, or are you just dropping in halfway through an hour-long thing and then adding your 2 cents? I know that what your pushback is going to be about Jesus. Yes and no, I believe about an afterlife. Just curious. another episode to talk about. I would love, like, and we could talk about Jesus on the episode if you want to, but like Jesus is a man-made construct. Yeah, he could have been a real person, but the idea that we need to be saved through Jesus Christ to make God love us eternally is bullshit. Anyways, we can talk about another episode. Bring down live. Don't mean to offend anybody. That's just how I feel. But I love everybody. I love Jesus. I love God. I love all the things because God made them all. And so understanding that life is never happiness. Like, you're not always going to be happy, but why would you want to be? Like, if you're happy all the time, then you're dead. Like, that's it. Like, God put us in this video game, which is the world. He gave us ego through third dimensional reality so we could experience life, which means all of the emotions, anger, resentment, happiness, laughter, shame, guilt. Like, no emotions are good or bad. Like, they all mean that you're alive and that you're playing the game. And so let go of your emotions and your judgments and the meaning that you assign to it. All right. I love you guys. I mean, I do. I know sometimes I seem abrasive and like I'm like, oh, let's go, but I'm not. It's just how I am. But I truly love you guys. I respect all of you. And Jordan, oh look, Jordan says I watched everything. I love you, bro. I know, and I know Jordan. And Jordan, if you guys don't know Jordan, is an amazing dude. Like, literally an amazing dude. Like, talk about one of the most loving and accepting human beings that you're ever going to meet. And so if you don't know Jordan, I don't want you to see this or hear this and think, oh, fuck Jordan, he's just pushing back against Marshall. Like, he's not. Like, you guys have got to understand that I'm very blessed and fortunate that because of the actions, thoughts and emotions I've created and the actions I've taken, now I'm surrounded by people who want me to win and who love me and who are willing to actually have conversations with me. And so just know, if you're listening to this or watching this, like, what I'm saying about Jesus and Jordan and I going back and forth, like, I'm not mad at him. And I hope he's not mad at me because he's one of the nicest human beings, one of the hardest, most selfless, hardest working and selfless human beings that you'll ever meet. But this is just a difference that we have. But that's what makes the whole fucking thing worth living, is that we get to experience different perspectives and we don't even have to agree. Like, we don't have to agree just to love each other, to be accepting, to go, I see you, bro. Because at the end of the day, it's just different details. Like, Jordan maybe doesn't know what it's like to attempt to survive attempted suicide, but maybe I don't know what it's like to go through what Jordan went through. And if Jordan and I are both depressed or have felt unworthiness at any point in our life, it doesn't matter what we've gone through, the details of how we got there. We can both come together over the fact that we know how fucking unfair feeling unworthy is. And we're on a mission to help other people realize their worthiness. So to me, Marshal Gillen, does it really matter to me if Jordan agrees with me about Jesus or not? No, because I'm like, bro, like, if that's your truth, you need to live that truth. And you need to go preach your truth to the world, because some people are going to hear me like Zach and go, I get you. And some people are going to listen to me and go, bro, that's not right. And then they're going to hear Jordan talking about Jesus and they're going to go, oh my God, Jordan, thank you. This is my truth. And at the end of the day, if their truth in Jesus or my truth in whatever God and spirituality gets us to be to a point where we realize we're all one and that we love the full spectrum of emotions that God created for us to experience life, then that's what ultimate joy is. It's how do you get to a place of peace in your life, knowing that anger, fear, guilt, shame, all these things are the beauty of being alive. And in that moment, it's being able to be grateful for contrast. When you guys can learn to, that's the secret to life. When you can find gratitude in contrast, oh, girl, that's when you're living. I'm telling you, bro, when you find that gratefulness for contrast, that's when you're first alive ever. And that's what it's all about. When you get there, you can love people. So I see you, Jordan. I love you, and I'd love to have a talk about it. All right, that's it. This has been another edition of the Marshal Gillen Show. I'm on a mission to save 1 billion lives, that save 1 billion lives with the power of vulnerability and storytelling. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you do so. Ring the bell, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Truly, I love you from the bottom of my heart. Now go be unstoppable.